Okay, guys, I am getting ready to go to one of those meetings that I told you. I told you I'm not kidding around about doing like new stuff. And I have already made some money. And for those of you who are just feeling like you're stuck at dead end jobs and your boss is like literally giving you 25-cent raises like mine did, unbelievable, honestly. Mind blown. I'm not even kidding you. To watch anybody in the universe sit back and give you a 25-cent raise and stare you deeply into the eye and ask you how that works for you is like a crotch kick. And you asking them, how did that work for you? That's exactly how it feels. But you know what? You guys got to be smart and you guys got to make your moves and you guys got to be clever about everything that you do. Go lay down. I'm trying to concentrate, bro. Love you. Get. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to make sure to have all your P's and Q's in order. Yeah, messages. Because you're getting job opportunities. You're getting paid your worth. And you're not settling for less. And this is in relationships or work. Because that's just not what we're going to do. Do you know that and I'm not even kidding you. We're gonna say about 70 minutes I made my 2 weeks worth of paycheck. That's what the fuck I made. And that's what I've been seeing is available to us out there these days, guys. Is like internet jobs. So, you know what? I was one of the last few people in my breed that honestly was doing the 9 to 5 shit. And I'll do it for a second longer. But you can bet your butt I'll be right on my way to social media income. And, also, you guys, I just want to put this out there that if you are somebody that enjoys looking good and using your good looks to become profitable, do it. Do it, honestly. There is absolutely no reason anymore that people are just having like platonic relationships. What's the point? What's the point? Just so that, like, let's be honest here, you guys. At the end of the day, 90% of the people are not looking for anything serious. And they are just looking for ting ting. Therefore, why aren't people making mutual agreements? Why are we just staying in normal relationships without any benefit except for the hope of what? True love? Whatever. I mean, it's cute and everything, but what I can tell you guys is if you're somebody who is in a situation of struggle, financial depression, and especially like emotional depression, thinking about anybody from your past that has ever hurt you, the time ever, never right now would be to date, to allow anybody close to you to get into your life. Like, that's the worst thing to do. And I know sometimes it's really difficult to think, like, how am I supposed to make ends meet? How am I supposed to get this done? How am I supposed to do everything? You know what I mean? I get it. I went through it. I went through it. Do you know what I did to get things done? I fucking took off to the Bering Sea and I worked out on a fishing vessel for a few years after my 8-year breakup because I bought this house and I could have done the same thing. I could have been like, what am I going to do? Sit here and sulk and cry? And you fucking bet your ass I cried. I cried so much those few years. Okay, I cried so much and it was so hard for me that I bought this house and I didn't even unpack it for 6 months. I also had so much laundry down here. And you guys, look at my house on a regular. Nothing on the floor, right? When I was going through my depression after my breakup, dude, there was so much laundry. It was crazy. And the house, it had not been unpacked. And I remember at month 6, I was still in a very heavy depression. And it was very hard for me, honestly, to accept that the chapter of my life that I was very invested into was over. And I'm not talking about just the boyfriend that I was in the relationship with. I was a teacher at a specific school, and I was managing that school, And I actually came to work one day and my boss didn't come. And so I drove over there to check on him and he was dead. He had committed suicide. And I walked right on into the scene, had to handle the whole thing, go back to the school and run it as the manager, graduate my class, keep it together for the students, and not rip somebody's fucking head off. I pushed everybody away. I thought that that school and that position and that leader at that time was my way out. You guys, if you watch some of my other videos, I talk about being in a very abusive relationship, and that's the relationship that I was in. And it was very dysfunctional and very unhealthy, and, you know, a lot of my relationships have always been like that, and I didn't really realize there was anything better out there until I found the leader that I had found passed away. It wasn't until he had found me in my life, you know, and believed in me and saw skills in me that made me feel like I could do anything that I believed that I could do. He made me believe things that I didn't even know I could do. I never in the world would have thought I was going to be a teacher of a college. He believed in me. And I just see that that's what's going to be happening for you guys in your life after this, is that I know that it's a major loss for you to watch everything that you've invested your time into fall apart. But I knew already that I did not want to be in that relationship in the first place. That's why I took that teaching job years before he passed away, and I broke up with that person. So we got to really just like hold ourselves like to our intuition, and we get different signals and signs from the universe when we should not be in the environment that we are in. And that doesn't mean that we should have never been there. It's supposed to be a stepping stone or a test and a learning experience, a self realization, you know, whatever it is. There's always something so much bigger that you can get out of any situation than just the grief. Do you know what I got out of the fact that that leader committed suicide and I found him? Well, there's many things. For one, it was my best friend, you know, of the company. And I got one thing, that I was very grateful, even though it really traumatized me, that as his best friend, I was the only one that had to handle that scene, because the other teachers, if they would have felt the way that I did finding our boss, I knew how deeply broken it was for me. And I always think to myself, I am just so lucky to have endured that over anybody else. And I also think I was also able to keep that scene private. Nobody will ever really honestly like really know like what that scene really entailed. And I always just try to find the pro in every con. And then I also like think I didn't know that he was suffering. I didn't know my leader was suffering in silence. And if I would have continued to learn underneath of him, there's a huge chance that I could have ended up being the exact same way in the end, you know, suicidal. And he would have taught me all the ways that he does things. And that's what the universe didn't want for me. And, you know, we don't always know why we don't know anything until it happens, until it's too late. But sometimes we're not supposed to know. Because if we know what's going on around us, sometimes we would be involved in it. Maybe two people would go down instead of one type thing, you know what I mean? You gotta just really understand that you're not in control of anything except for the way that you choose to really handle the situation and learn from it and understand it. We only really have control of our own perception, and what I can tell you is that if your perception is not like doing any good for you, even when it's a bad situation, then just work on it. Just notice, you know, quietly to yourself, like, hey, you know, I got a negative perception. I'm always complaining, like, I can't seem to find the good. Or if you're somebody that says, you know, but, yeah, it is good, but I wish this. Or, yeah, you're fine, but you always do that, like, no buts. it's like you just need to stop and appreciate in the moment the good. The good, plain and simple. Like, yeah, things are going to be bad, but like, it's okay to just recognize the good and just leave it with a period on the end. There doesn't need to be a but or a blend of negativity in with your good. What you need to do is just start sorting it out and just like really just make sure that you take time to appreciate that moment of good, because it's very short lived for you. And there are a lot of things in your life that, you think about or that affect you in a negative way. And because we're warriors, because we are survivors of all of this, and because we're still alive, it just is proof every single day that we're meant to go through these things and experiences, and you just got to have faith. I do see that, this is actually hilarious. I'm just going to use this as an example, but I know some of you guys might have sent messages to somebody who pretended to be successful, and they don't have shit going on for them. This is a king of coins in the reverse, so even if this person is successful, they're greedy and they're selfish, and what they're doing is coming off as a king, and they're bragging about all the money that they have, and they're probably sending you messages, but this person actually has a way that they typically go about this kind of behavior, and they have no intention whatsoever of actually making it worth your while. I see the Six of Wands in the reverse, which is like the housewife. This is a fake housewife. This person's probably into more escorts or role play or whatever it is. But I do just want to warn you that for any of you guys who are looking for somebody serious, this person is not serious, and they will not. They're lying. Actually, they're literally lying. They're bullshitting you about anything that they're saying right now, so just keep an eye out for that. They're not even looking for an actual wife. They're not looking for anybody that cooks or cleans. If anything, it's going to be like an act. Like, they're looking for somebody to do role play. I'm not even kidding you. So if you're somebody who has a very sensitive heart and you wear it on your sleeve, and this is going to blow your mind and make you so damn sad, then just hear this out right now, because yeah, this person is not for real. And you're coming up as the Nine of Cups, standing up here with a King of Coins in the reverse, and you're gonna freaking rage, because for some of you guys, you don't really have a lot of spirit or soul or heart left in you to offer out. So you're a believer, you're a big believer in love. And although this has been a really big thing that you've always been able to hang on to, unfortunately over the last few relationships, it's diminishing. It's actually making you freaking rage, and you're like, I have had enough. I'm not going to keep dating. And some of you have even said, I'm not dating anymore. Some of you are saying, this is the last time I'm going to give it a shot. So if that's what you really mean, don't freaking then you better be picky. Don't be verbalizing the fact that you've been through so much and that you will not tolerate anymore and all these things, but then jump right into the quickest and fastest thing or the first thing that you see. And even worse, I heard some of you guys are thinking about a thing from the past. Definitely not. Definitely not. I already told you guys that this is the year where you guys need to spend time alone. I have been living alone in my house for 3 years. And it was really freaky for me. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was working at literally Walmart hair salon when I went through my breakup. And I crap you not, you guys, you're going to know that I was making maybe $400 every 2 weeks after paying child support. I don't even know if I even hit $700 take home from that salon. It was a joke. And I had stepped down from my teaching position. I was getting paid $20 at the time, an hour. And in 2016, $20 an hour was decent. So I took a major pay cut. And I had to, I didn't feel like the students deserved somebody that was going through PTSD from finding a dead man. So I graduated my class, and I just stepped down from my position and took that major pay cut because that's what I needed to do. I'm a firm believer of removing myself from environments of trauma. I don't believe that we should have to make things better or force things to get better and work that hard when there are so many different cities and towns and options and people out there to choose from, experiences, jobs, and whatever it is. Like, I just have been somebody who believes in myself and has a lot of talents and could really just move forward pretty damn easily, and I did. I also really respect my students who are paying 30 grand each to learn from their educator, and I needed to be there for them, healthy. There's nothing more in the world that means more to me than, you know, youth and their future and the leaders that they have in their life, and if they're healthy. And I just ended up doing all that, and I almost lost my house. I was probably 14 days, 13 days shy of losing my house. I had applied to work at many different places, but Alaska, I had heard you could make some decent money, so it took me 3 months of hounding that company to please let this random girl who was a hairstylist and teacher work on the fishing boats. They didn't even do it for 3 months, and I kept begging them, please. Somehow, by the grace of God, I literally flew into Alaska and landed in Dutch Harbor and was able to make my mortgage payment 14 days shy of losing this house. Every single night on that boat, I remember having my hands in prayer, praying to God that I just made enough to pay the mortgage. And I don't know, I did slowly but surely end up doing that. And it's been almost 6 years, and I'm not gonna lie, I have not paid the mortgage on different months. And then there's, I go through this streak where I do like 8 or 9 months where I do really well, and then it's like the water heater breaks or the central cooling system breaks or something's going on again. And you know, as a single person, parent, and homeowner, and somebody who works pretty much a minimum wage job, um, with a couple side dollars, I guess I didn't really thoroughly think things out buying this house, did I? I guess I moved a little bit too fast my own damn self. And a lot of times we believe that if we have these things in our lives, that people in society say that you need to be a good member of our community, then we rush to get into that type of status, right? Married, moms and dads, into religions, homeowners, college graduates. Some of us pursue careers that we don't even have interest in because somebody else wanted us to. Some of us give up dreams because people said we needed to be on this or that path. We do a lot of things in this world that we are motivated from an outside source to do. And we also react in ways that inner sources can cause, such as pain, anger, shame, rage, envy, jealousy. And emotions are easy to actually break down. And you don't need to be ashamed and you don't need to be embarrassed because you can do this all by yourself. And if you feel comfortable as you're having revelations and discoveries and uncovering all these mysteries that have been bottled up inside of you, you will not only find that they were not really as bad as you heard that they were, thought that they were, you're going to realize that that fear that you had when it came to taking a look at yourself and inside yourself and the things that were really going on, at the end of the day, a lot of them were out of your control. You can't be blaming yourself because other people did stuff. You can't be thinking of yourself in the ways that other people tell you that you are. And you can't be living up to other people's standards or expectations. You can do things if you want because you like to do it, but not because you feel like you have to do it. When you start doing things because you have to do it and you're feeling burdened by it, it's time to move along. And next time, when you re-enter a new situation, be thinking about the purpose of why you're entering it. Don't just be like, oh yeah, we're walking through. No, you're here for a reason. And whether the reason is simple or large, if you're just pretty much just walking around life, like it's just this big old open space with no purpose, and if you have no actual control over what you're walking through and getting involved in, that just that would not even make sense at all. Like, you got to think of this as like a game. Like, if I don't know, I'm picturing like sucks. I literally pictured the room in the Saw movie where everybody's trapped. I don't know why that is such a horrible thing to picture, but maybe that's as fucked up as life is. Life is so fucked up that literally that's what came to my mind as an example. Yeah, pretty much, we walk into these new chapters of our life, and if you're not paying attention, it could be like the room in Saw. And next thing you know, you're just trapped in there and you never got out. But people that actually can calm themselves down and use their head and not allow their emotions to take over their thinking can actually navigate through the room and out safely. They can also keep other people calm when they're freaking out. And that's the difference right there about people, is that you got the ones that can actually lead an empire or a group of people in distress to safety and calmness. And then you got the ones that didn't even fucking know what was going on, ended up in a trap room and died. They never get out because they're weak. And they were not paying attention to anything around them. They thought everybody was just something around them. Do, 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 do. No. They were skills to learn. They were teachers. They were examples. Every person, no matter what they were doing, was showing you what could happen. And you might have been judging them. You might have been feeling sorry for them. You might have been helping them. You might have been ignoring them. But you don't have to be the one who goes through a situation to actually see what happens when you do. And we'll all go through it differently. But the point here is just understanding the different outcomes, the possibilities. So right now, that is what we're working on. We are not in a hurry to be distracted by another person who's going to come in and give you new orders, rearrange your character once again, and lay down some new expectations of what this new relationship is going to look like. No. This is your time to do what we talked about in this video and challenge yourself, to just know that God has your back. Your higher power has your back. And that He wants you to put Him first. He wants you to come to Him, not freaking him or her. Like, you got a third party in the middle of you and your higher power. And like, legit, your higher power will take you where you need to be. Even if it's not always where you are or what you're working for. I didn't know, honestly, if I was going to get to keep this house in the end. I didn't know if I had worked too hard for something, and I always watch that. Am I trying too hard to make this work? I always try to say, is the reason why this is so hard for me to do because God wants me to surrender and try something new? But every night, like I said, I put my hand in prayer that I somehow would make ends meet and that I could learn how to do this by myself. And it's been 3 years. Still have the house. Things are definitely easier for me. And God did give me the opportunity to make choices out of impulse. And I remember when I did, he told me, Tara, like, I know you can do this. Like, I feel like him and I have a lot of talks. And I feel like that night, he was like, I already know, like, you can do this. But, like, is this what you should be doing? Is what he's always asking me. It's just one of those things where you just need to just be paying attention to the length of chapters. The purpose. How is it making you feel? How do people feel around you? Are you growing? Are you learning? Are you stimulated? Or are you stagnant? Whenever you feel unstimulated and you don't feel like you have any more to honestly see or learn, and you're losing interest in the things around you, it's time to expand. Ace of Cups in the reverse. This is not time for love. Just so you know, Cups is love. This is time for you to legit Empress in the reverse, because right now you're working towards being an Empress in the upright. You have the skills, you have the knowledge, you've seen the stuff that is out there to lead Empress empires. Like, you had to see all this messed up stuff to be an Empress or an Emperor, because they're the ones who actually understand and look over other people that have went through those things too eventually. So that's what you're actually working towards right here. So the most beautiful people on this earth are actually people that have made it through the dark side and out alive. And you wouldn't know that until you're taught that. So just know, like I said, if you're still making it through these storms and you're still alive and you're still standing and you're still giving it a chance and you have hope and you're doing whatever you can and you're alone, it's because you're heading towards being an empress or an emperor. And these people, they don't stand with a bunch of crowds and groups when they lead an empire. They might have a husband or a wife, but they will be on the exact same level and it will be their forever person. They don't fuck around with random people. That's not what they do. Nobody says that the emperor or the empress is like screwing around. Not in our reads. This person's loyal and they're focused. This is like Beyoncé, okay? Literally, that's Beyoncé. No temptation can touch this, Nis. And she is fine as heck. This is a Beyoncé right here, okay? And even when her man cheated on her, she still was faithful. She still stayed focused. You need to be like Beyoncé, alright? Man or woman, okay? And if you want to do it with anybody, you better put a ring on it. I love you.